So, a few days ago, I was listening to the radio on my way home, and the topic or question of the day was, why do young men drop out of school only to become nothing in their lives? And the answer was simple. It was because that young man had been wanting to start his own company, to do Forex trading, to sing, or to act. The possibilities are endless. Or it could just be a simple and plain drug problem. But what hurt me the most is why men tend to become nothing in their lives after dropping out to pursue that dream. And so I thought about it so you don't have to, which is why I made this video as to why do most dudes set out to achieve but almost never end up achieving. Let's take a simple man's brain and look at how it thinks. Not a modern man, not a distracted man, just a man, stripped down to instinct. At its core, a man's mind seeks movement, not comfort, not stillness, movement. History makes this clear. From the earliest records, men who mattered were not those who stayed satisfied. They were those who pushed against sameness, hunters who ventured farther, builders who imagined structures that didn't yet exist, leaders who refused the limits of their time. Charles Darwin didn't just study evolution of bodies, he showed us that survival belongs to what adapts. And psychologically, men internalized this long before science named it. A man who stagnated didn't survive. A man who adapted did. This is why the male mind is wired toward constant evolution, and constant evolution creates disdain. A man's brain begins to reject sameness, prolonged, comfort, easy, pleasure, repetitive routines, boredom. Nietzsche observed this when he wrote that man would rather will nothingness than not will at all. Boredom isn't just uncomfortable. To a man, it feels like decay. Modern neuroscience echoes this. Dopamine isn't released by possession. It's released by pursuit. The male brain lights up when chasing, building, testing limits. Remove the chase, and the mind turns restless, then destructive. That's why comfort, when prolonged, becomes poison. And that's the conflict of the modern man. Today, pleasure is instant. Comfort is endless. Evolution is optional. So the same brain that once built empires now sits unsettled, overstimulated, unfocused, and ashamed for hating the very ease it's been given. The man doesn't hate peace. He hates meaningless stillness. Inside his mind is a demand older than society itself: become more or rot. And that demand never goes silent. Most men don't grow up without dreams. They grow up without a man to look up to. Someone close enough to watch, steady enough to trust, and real enough to follow. So they borrow standards from strangers, chase lives that aren't theirs, and wonder why nothing feels solid. We all know that men love women, fast cars, and fast money. We're men. But most who try to get those things end up never getting it. Why? Well, let me tell you why. Imagine a guy with all those things: the pretty girl, the money, the fame, and the fast cars. Wouldn't it make sense for men to compare themselves to that guy because he is the perfect image of what they want to become? So they compare, and that's where things start to go south. Because you and this guy you're trying to compare yourself with are not the same. Well, at least not yet, which, as a man, you're not figuring out. Imagine if this channel had compared itself to Mr. Beast, for example, and every single day I compare my progress to Mr. Beast's progress, which is insane if you really think about it. Because first of all, that alone causes a lot of stress, because it's the gap between where I am and where I want to be, and that causes me to work hard and still see a little bit of progress, which is what kills most men or makes them quit on something. Once you realize that you've burned out and made little to no progress, that's where you get bored. And as I've said in the first chapter, you will want to evolve. Well, at least that's what you might think you're doing. So you quit and try to find something new. Then you quit again. Then try something new again. So you're basically living in a montage because you've compared your progress to someone who is 500 steps ahead of you. And so, what I think the good type of comparison is to ask yourself, what did this guy do to get here? Then start following those steps. And so that person becomes your role model. So you must act like them, talk like them, walk like them, blah, blah, blah. It's the same story, but it's true. And so is the next chapter about role models. When people say men are lost, they usually blame laziness. But lost people aren't lazy, they're directionless. Most men didn't grow up with a man they could watch closely. Not someone perfect, but someone consistent. Someone whose life made sense from the inside out. So instead of learning manhood through proximity, they learned it through observation from a distance. Athletes, influencers, characters, edited success stories. Men started copying outcomes instead of principles. The money without the patience, the confidence without the discipline, the results without the routine. And when it doesn't work, they don't think the model was broken, they think they are. The absence of real role models doesn't just confuse men, it quietly teaches them to compare, to rush, and to doubt their own pace. And eventually, a man isn't asking, who do I want to become? He's asking, why am I not already there? Nobody warns you about the delay. The space where you're working, improving, sacrificing, and nothing seems to change. As a guy, don't be fooled by what you see on social media. Nothing isn't hard to do, whether you love it or not. On social media, people tell you what they had and what they've got. But there is the middle part, which is what did they go through when they tried to get what they have. The amount of hours and work, it's as horrible as it can get because a piece of you is going out to the world and you're uncertain if people will like it or not. And you tend to feel like you want to quit, like it's not worth it, you don't deserve it. They did it because they were better or had a better situation. But what I want to tell you is, somewhere out there, there is a person with a situation worse than yours, but still going hard. And not to compare, but what I'm trying to say is, if you follow the reasons why you can't succeed, you won't succeed. Rather, use the fear to drive you towards success. I know that this is turning into a rant, but fear and doubt is all potential energy that's waiting for you to make it kinetic, for you to move, change the world, have an impact. Uncertainty is only proof of the fact that you're heading in the right direction, and you praying for it to stop doesn't really help, because every man, including myself, is uncertain, as we are uncertain if we'd get a chance to see the next day. You are going to work as hard as you should, and when you do, just be patient, because success compounds. It's never linear. It's not run straight to the finish line, but it's rather constant ups and downs consisting of different problems which need you to solve. Don't worry if you're working and nothing is working. It's how it's supposed to be.